album and I'm not participating. And I decided to boycott Kanye because I thought about Colin Kaepernick. I thought about Starbucks and a bunch of other things, and I just felt like this is not the time to play with the culture and the things and the strides that have happened over the last couple years. This black renaissance and black excellence that's happened. I don't know where you find yourself saying Obama didn't do this and that, and then making these controversial statements. And I know that all you're trying to do is sell this CD, and you're not finna use me to sell your CD. And so I checked out, and I didn't realize how bad it was about to get. Because soon after, he started talking about 4,000 years. I mean, slavery was a choice, basically. And so I tapped out because I was like, I can't contribute to this use of the culture to create a conversation so he could sell records.
I think, well, yes, I think he is a little bit controversial. I think he does do things just for the whole idea of being out here and just saying the most outlandish things to generate publicity and get attention. I definitely will say that for the most part. Here's my issue with Kanye and what he said. Who the hell is around Kanye? Like, they say the baby off his meds. Who is his handler? Like, who are his friends? Clearly, his wife is nowhere to be found because we don't never hear her saying shit about shit when it comes to this man and his rants. Like, who is helping this boy? Because clearly there is no one solid person around him that's like, yo, let's check this or let's talk about this or watch what you're saying or why are you saying this? So let me educate you on something. Like, it seems like this, he's just out here like in the fucking wind. Like a 5-year-old just doing shit.
I kind of feel like maybe he does have people around him and they just, like, as they say, you have yes men. Even, like, I think if you look at the Kardashian clan, and was it Kris Jenner and them, I think that, if you look at how they move, he may have mentioned, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get some controversy, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, that's a great idea. Go ahead, do it. And it's working. It's working in terms of the conversation. So one thing I've kind of steered clear from is talking about what he's saying up until today, and we can talk about the shit that he's saying. But I stayed away from what he is saying in particular because I feel like it's a distraction from what he's doing, and that's selling records. And I'm not even saying the conversation is not even, some of the things he brings up is not to be had, but I feel like come July, he won't be talking to us anymore. And he's already, he's creating this division that we do not need. Like, people are taking sides.
Yeah. Agreed.
And we just had Black Panther, we just had Get Out, we had Girls Trip, we got all these things that's going in entertainment to push the culture. And I mean, we even have the play Hamilton, like so many things in terms of culture, so many things that in entertainment and progress. I mean, we got Obama and then we get Trump after that helps make Obama's legacy even stronger. And Kanye West decides to drop an album, and now we're dividing ourselves over slavery that we haven't really had to talk about that much anymore. That's just crazy to me. And so
right.
I've avoided talking about the shit that he's saying specifically because I just feel like he don't give a fuck like that.
He does. You know what else was interesting? He did another interview with Charlemagne the God, which they were chatting back and forth, and I didn't get to watch all of it. But in the beginning, Kanye was talking about like his mom and all of that, and Charlemagne asked him a legit question. He was like, "Do you really think your mom would be proud of the stuff that you were saying, considering you said that she was an activist and she participated in marches and protests?" He was like, "You really think your mom would be proud of you?" He was like, "I don't think your mom would be here for none of this." And Kanye literally was like, "Huh," and he got quiet. And he kept asking him legit questions like, you really think black people did this? And there was no crazy Kanye. It was no rebuttal. It was just him literally listening to what Charlemagne had to say. And a very powerful response was that he had no response. He was just taking it in because someone pulled him aside and said it to him like, you talk about how your mom was all of this and you think this is what she would be proud of? And it was approached to him in a different way. And I've learned that watching Kanye and people like him, the less combative you are and just the more calm and you just talk to them and really listen to them, they can be approached in a different way, and sometimes they get it.
See, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, and that's my big issue with Kanye, and I think this is why a lot of people are like, and he said something, I think, and I feel like he said it to Charlemagne, and he was like, I am an entertainer that they want to have all these answers and to be a person that I'm just not. And to me, that means, well, Kanye, if you know you're not this political genius and you know you're not all these things and you don't have the answers to the questions people keep asking you, at what point do you take responsibility to just stop answering the fucking questions?
Ain't nobody asked that nigga shit. Like that, but because think about that statement. They expected him to be this whatever. Nigga, he ain't said shit. Like, ain't nobody ever said up and said, I wonder what Kanye think of this.
Right.
They never ain't.
Well, no, he got a cult following because these motherfuckers will go down. They will go down to the ground talking about Kanye's a genius. Kanye, we just don't understand him. The one thing Kanye said that made me half think about his Donald Trump stance is, he made the statement that before Donald Trump became president, he would hang out with the rappers, and it was cool for the rappers to have him in his song. I get that aspect, but what Kanye's missing is when Donald Trump ran for president, he ran on hate, he ran on racism, he ran on sexism. Like, his platform was negatively against all these things. So while he might have been the cool homeboy to have a couple of drinks with because he's just the money man or the Trump man or whatever, once his platform became all of those things, you should have said, damn, I can't fuck with you no more.
Cause see, that's the context that the context he's missing. Even in that statement is like, before he was, Trump just represented rich, popular rich. And it was easy to say because he was braggadocious. He was like a rich guy rapper. I mean, like that industry's rap artist. But once he started running, all that changed. And not just all of it changed. Even people who like even myself, when he went into the thing, into election, I was like, I mean, you know, he's a business guy. I mean, who knows? Maybe we need to run this bitch like a business. Over time, your opinion can change, as it has with Kanye. So it's not like I was locked in, like a person had to be locked into their feelings about this guy. You don't know what this guy, like, no one really had to cared to listen really of what Trump had to say. But then he ran, like you said, he ran on a platform that showed us that, oh, this dude is with that bullshit. What you said something about Kanye.
Exactly.
You said something about Kanye. I think so you mentioned about Charlemagne, you basically leveling with him. And I think, you know, sometimes you can invoke something into a person where I think that person then has to stop and say, damn, is this even worth it? Like, and
I think this might be the first person that sat down with Kanye eye to eye and made some damn sense with him. Because the one main question Charlemagne asked him was, how can you support someone who oppresses people that look like you?
Now, I'm a pause a second because that Charlemagne interview, from what I understand, was before the slave statement.
Oh, was it? Okay. The way I understood it was after.
Well, it came out after, but the interview itself happened beforehand. And I think so. I think the T.I. one. I don't know about the T.I. one, but I believe the Charlemagne happened before the TMZ shit happened. So, I mean, I don't know if that helps with the context or not, but I, that's why it makes it so complicated, and not really complicated for me. I'm committed to my boycott of Kanye West, and I will listen to the interviews after this. I've just felt like I want to stay honest up until this point of why, so it's known why I have avoided it. Do you think he's I'm not going to call him crazy. Do you think he has a mental illness?
No, say that again. I didn't hear you.
Do you think that he has a mental illness?
I don't see mental illness as such a thing.
Let me add one more thing to that. Beyond the artistic part, because I mean, me and you were both artists, and there's the things that kind of come with being an artist and being a very good artist that make you misunderstood by others. As far as how, you know, you deal with the passionate part, the failures and shit like that, versus traditional mental illness where we're talking about someone's mental health that's affecting their ability to work and affecting their relationships with others.
See, here's the thing, and I've said this before, Kanye doesn't necessarily strike me as someone with mental illness. Kanye low-key strikes me as someone with slight autism, where they can't always articulate everything that they are trying to say, so it comes out in these jumbled up forms and fucked up forms. I don't think Kanye means anyone any harm. I don't think Kanye is maliciously out here just trying to fuck over the church's money. But I do, in fact, feel like whatever Kanye has, the thoughts, once it hits his brain, somehow by the time it comes out his mouth, it doesn't sound the same coming out of his mouth as it sounds from his head. That's just a human thing, because a lot of us get tongue-tied. Even like, especially when you're arguing with people or whatever, when you get passionate, you think something and you say it, and you just don't know the right words to articulate it. I feel like a lot of times that's Kanye's problem. And it could be that Kanye has some kind of mental illness, and with his mother being gone and having so many yes men around him, there's no one around him enough to maybe maintain it and control it and kind of keep it under wraps. Because we know that's happened to a lot of people. They have all these things you never knew about, and that's because whoever was making sure that they were together and making sure that they weren't out here making these random outbursts either passed away or left or something drastic in their life changed. I hate to give him a mental illness because I hate to put a label on someone that they don't deserve. But I can't say if there's anything truly mentally wrong with him, like schizophrenia or all this other stuff that we associate with mental illnesses. The baby just might be eccentric as fuck.
I would go eccentric. I like that because this
maybe he's just eccentric as fuck and he just doesn't know how to form good sentences. Maybe writing is great, but when he has to just talk off the top of his head, maybe that's just not his strong suit.
I would give I like eccentric just on the strength of, because my thing with mental illness, it doesn't decide when you are ready to release product to flare up and be abnormal. Wow. I say that because what month we in? May, February, when Drake started dropping music, January, February, Drake started dropping music, and I remember there was conversation being had about, oh, it sounds like so and so is about to drop some music. Do you think we're gonna get a Kanye album? And it was like, I don't know if there's a Kanye album until I see a wild Kanye rant come out. And then a wild Kanye rant came out, and now we know that Kanye is coming with music. And so
maybe this nigga is a genius, and this is just his way to make sure his music sells. His free publicity.
Well, see,
I have to pay for publicity.
That used to work. I can't see that working. That's why my argument is...
It don't work with black people, but you got to understand, black people ain't the only ones out here buying Kanye West music.
Fair enough.
With a younger, dumbass audience, these young kids will buy his music, regardless of what he says, especially this young, white, I want to be hip-hop into it. And let's be honest, they're going to buy a lot of his music.
And
it's working for some target audience. Now, we getting older, we not going for it. But these younger, dumb ones, they sure